This is pretty late. I'm not sure if I'm going to ever do this again, if it's not a regular session that I would normally do. Now, I know that when I do the midnight cry, that's at 12 o'clock a.m., actually, the previous morning, because now it's Wednesday morning. It would be Tuesday morning. Then the other two that I usually do during the evening, the current events from a biblical perspective, is at 11 o'clock. And then, of course, the word diner comes on at 10 o'clock on Thursday. The current events one comes on Friday, 11 o'clock. Anyway, I'm continuing in a series of podcasts regarding the Constitution of the United States. And I try to explain it in a way that a layman can understand. And I also put, if there's any way to make the perspective from a Christian point of view, I try to do that. We've already done 19 of them already. If you want to see them, you can look on this particular Facebook page, Adrian Hammond, or you can also look on YouTube, because I make it a practice of copying all of these to YouTube, knowing that after 30 days, Facebook wipes them off of their particular platform, so all I have is those that are on YouTube. In YouTube, it would be the amendments to the U.S. Constitution. That's the playlist, if you want to see these. Anyway, this is the 20th Amendment, and I'm going to do this probably in sessions because it has six sections here. 6 sections. Try to say that very fast, 3 times. But so I'm going to break them up and not do them all in one night. This would be a longer podcast than what I normally would do. So, beginning with section number 1, 20th Amendment to the United States Constitution. It reads, "The terms of the President and the Vice President shall end at noon on the 20th day of January, and the terms of senators and representatives at noon on the 3rd day of January of the years in which such terms would have ended if this article had not been ratified, and the terms of their successors shall then begin." Understanding when this particular amendment was ratified, it was ratified on January 23rd, 1933, as the nation was trying to struggle out of the Great Depression. This essentially changed some of the articles that were already in there in the Constitution. I think it puts it now earlier in the year, whereas before it may have been March or April. Now the terms of the president and vice president, the old ones end at noon on the 20th day, and the ones who have been elected begin on the 20th day. So, which is why the 20th day of January is such a big thing. Of course, you can start talking about the insurrection, or some people call it a peaceful demonstration. Of course, some people got hurt, some died, but it was a peaceful demonstration. And the whole idea was to prevent the incumbent president at the time from having to give up his presidency on the 20th. So therefore it happens that on the 6th, the Congress counts the votes, counts the electors, and then, even though it already should have been counted in November, they go over it once more in January to make sure everything is set, everything is right. and then therefore it's made official on that day. And then the swearing in of the new president comes in. So it seems to be a pretty straightforward thing. The new senators start on the 3rd day of January. The president and the vice president start on the 20th day of January. Again, these may seem pretty mundane. It just deals with the secession plan, a peaceful secession, which we took for granted. Now we can't take it for granted anymore, because who knows who may come up and with their followers and dispute and try to put harm upon those who would be in charge of the counting in the halls of Congress. So, as saints of God, there's not much for us to be able to do here. But because we belong to this country, and because we are citizens of this particular country, then we have to abide by what this country considers as the plans of succession. That one is elected by the people, in this case, the President of the United States and the Vice President of the United States. They're both elected the first Tuesday in November. And those electors that essentially were counted in favor of the person who won is then made official when the new Congress convenes. See, this is a new Congress now, because the 3rd day of January is when the old congressmen and women leave, the new congressmen and women come in and are sworn in. And the most important thing that they can do at that time is to count the votes. So that essentially is pretty straightforward. We're looking for the 20th to be the day that the old president's out, the new president's in. 3rd day of January, the old Congress is out, the new Congress is in. Of course, if you've been elected again, then you're an incumbent and there's nothing that happens with you. Section 2 says, the Congress shall assemble at least once in every year, and such meetings shall begin at noon on the 3rd day of January, unless they shall by law appoint a different day. Again, the Congress is not, and I think people may be surprised at this, but Congress is not, they're not obligated to meet more than once every year. And that one meeting, if there's only one, it has to start at noon on the 3rd day of January, unless the law says they're appointed a different day. Now, if they only met once a year, got everything done, there'll be no problem. But it's hard for them to get one thing done, because in this case, we have what is called a split Congress. Nearly half Republican, nearly half Democrat. Right now, Republicans hold the edge, but not by very much. So what they propose, the Democrats will block it. When the Democrats have that same vote, that same margin, same thing happens. Democrats vote, Republicans block. So therefore it ends up being a stalemate, and people are mad because they want things to get done. So you see the issues. But it has nothing to do with the day that one is being sworn in. It's just that once you deal with that particular day, what else are you doing? So the idea here is that we don't want our Congress people or congressmen and congresswomen to only meet once a year, which is why they don't. Because I believe if they did, they'd be voted out of office, and they know it. They know it. Because most of the businesses are done when Congress convenes. Which is why, as we're going through this period of time where, because the budget hasn't been signed, the government has been shut down. And some of them have no intent on coming anytime soon. Some because they stand upon principle, others because their leader has said, stay away, and we're not going to convene until I feel something can be done. And in that case, there is something that we saints of God can look at, because essentially, as we are voting these people in, they should be doing what they need to legislate, to make laws, to debate upon which laws are for the people in general, and how some may be only for these few, and that may be unfair. But just because you're saved doesn't mean you can't tell your congressman or congresswoman, what's up? What are you doing? Why are you taking away money that is earmarked for those who are poor, for those who can't go and buy their foods because they don't have enough money for it, to make sure that children eat something? And it may sound like that is a argument for a bleeding heart liberal, as many people say on the right. These are things that essentially are very important to so many souls. I say souls because if you're living, you have a soul, whether you think of it or not. But the point here that I'm trying to make is, we can still hold our Congress people accountable for their actions. They're there to make laws, not the president. The president is supposed to execute the laws that have been legislated by Congress. But Congress has somehow abdicated that role to the president. So the president is only too happy to sign edicts and laws doing this and that and the other and so on. But it's the legislation's fault for not holding the line on making sure that they're the ones who make the laws. The president can always, he can always suggest a law. That's no problem. He'll put even his support behind it. That's, again, no problem. But he can't really make the law. No matter when he is sworn in, no matter when Congress is sworn in and assembled. But let's hold our elected officials accountable for what they need to do. If we ministers are held accountable for what we say and what we present, as the Word of God is very, very precious, and if we say it in the wrong way and we give the wrong intent from it, then we can definitely it's bad for us, because the Lord will ask for a reckoning of what we've done. And if it's not according to his will, then we're in trouble. Legislators should be in the same way, that the people have elected you to do something. If you don't do anything, why are you elected? Very simple. Very simple. If ministers, those who had the ecclesiastical portion of the church, and that our duties are very well laid out for us, and we must heed to them, then certainly the legislators should be able to heed to the wishes of the people they represent. God bless you. May He keep you. Love you all. This is the last one I'm doing tonight. God bless you.